Welcome to a brand new episode of The Pull List, a weekly comic book podcast where I discuss the books that came out this week, along with whatever other comic book news, whether it's movies or TV shows or whatever in this medium that I want to talk about. And luckily this week, not only were there some fantastic comics that we're going to talk about, and some great comics that are coming out next week that I want to talk about, but also the finale to Daredevil Born Again Season 2 came out, and I want to talk about it. So, now when I talk about it, there's probably going to be some spoilers. I'm definitely going to spoil it. Okay, I'll do a non-spoiler review, and then I'll do a full-on spoilerific review. So if you haven't fully seen the show, I definitely recommend it. If you didn't like the previous season of Daredevil Born Again, I think you'll definitely enjoy this one better, because I had a lot of problems with the first season of Born Again that I think this season makes up for. But first, let's dive into the comics that came out this week. I actually had kind of a light week. Only 4 comics came out, 2 from Marvel, 2 from DC, and then I ended up picking up the first trade of Exquisite Corpses by James Tynion the fourth, and Matt Walsh, and a couple other people that worked on that, and I started reading it, and it's great. I wish I started reading it when it was coming out, but I'm super excited to finally get a chance to read the trades that are coming out. So as for the comics that came out this week, as I said, I only picked up 4. But let's dive right in with Batman number 9 by Matt Fraction and Ryan Sook. Now, if you have not been reading Batman by Matt Fraction, you should. I mean, especially if you are really unhappy with how Batman has been the last couple years. I really enjoyed pretty much everything that Scott Snyder did with the character. I really enjoyed, Court of Owls, Death of the Family. I even like Super Heavy and all the stuff with Mr. Bloom and, all that. Even Dark Knight's Metal and Death Metal was debatable. I'm not going to say I loved it. I'm not going to say I hate it, but it was enjoyable. And then Tom King takes over, and James Tynion the fourth, and a couple other people. I'm sure Joshua Williamson did a very brief stint on Batman. And then Chip Zdarsky, he did his run, which I wasn't crazy about. I liked the beginning of it, and then it kind of lost me. And then we have Hush 2 that I thought finished. I read the first issue of it, and I was like, nope, not going to read it. And then I thought it finished, but it turns out it just got delayed. So there's that. I don't plan on finishing it. I feel like a lot of people are not going to finish it. Maybe if you're a diehard Batman fan, which I am, but I can't. I love Jeff Loeb, but there are some things that he's written in recent years that are just a little too off the rails. But then Matt Fraction comes in, and I thought this was going to be like a whole new, era for Batman, and it is. But it's really just kind of a palate cleanser until the rest of Hush 2 comes out, which I really hope, I heard it's going to go on for 12 issues or more, and I really hope it goes on for more. I hope this is just the new Batman series, because it has been great. I mean, there has been huge shakeups to the Batman mythos. We have Commissioner Gordon is no longer Commissioner Gordon. Instead, we have Commissioner Vandal Savage, which, if you know anything about Vandal Savage, he is an immortal Justice League villain, and him being commissioner is totally bananas. But as we know in comic books, characters who are supervillains can become the president or the mayor or whatever. But so we have Batman number 9, which, like I said, if you're not reading the current Batman run, jumping into issue number 9 might be kind of jarring because there is a lot going on. But things for this issue, I mean, you have the Bat family, full display. Right, you get everybody here. You get Barbara, you get a little bit of Tim. Tim is an interesting character because they're going in a really interesting direction, and I love Tim Drake. He was always my favorite Robin until recently, and I feel like DC just hates him. Does anyone else feel that? DC Comics just hates Tim Drake now, and they do a lot of things with his characters, and he currently has a boyfriend. I think his name's what's his name? Is it Bernard? Am I making that up? I don't know. Which is fine. I know a lot of people don't like Tim Drake having a boyfriend. Either people don't like the character of Bernard, or people just don't like that Tim is bisexual. I don't care. Personally, I think Bernard, or whatever his name is, I hope that's his name, and I'm not just making that up. I think he's kind of just a boring character. There's not a lot to him. And I heard that there might be a standalone Tim Drake series coming out soon, written maybe by Matt Fraction. So if that happens, and that's, I'm down for that. But as for the other Bat Family characters, you have Barbara, you have Duke, you have Stephanie Brown, and I don't know if I remember seeing Cassandra in this. She probably was. I'm just misremembering. But it was a great issue. I mean, with everything going on with Vandal Savage being commissioner and introducing new Bat characters into this mythos, and still the lack of Alfred, which I really, I hated when Alfred was killed by Tom King. Not by Bane, by Tom King. I hated that, right? But I think the writers have really made the most out of it, which is really surprising, because I really would have thought they'd bring him back by now. It's been 5 years or more. It's probably close to 6 or 7 years now without Alfred, and it's crazy. It's crazy that he has stayed dead for this long. But I think there's been a lot of great character development for Bruce, and especially Damian. So, unfortunately, I gotta say, maybe killing Alfred was a good idea for characters like Damian. Next, I want to talk about JSA by Jeff Lemire and Diego Olo. I can't even say it. I can't say it. But art is fantastic. Everything about this book is fantastic. I've been in love with this series since the very beginning. Since issue 1, I picked it up and I was like, this is it. This is going to be my new favorite book. Like every month or every 2 weeks, whenever this book comes out, and it has not disappointed me. I loved the previous arcs. The first arc was fantastic, and then Ragnarok. I mean, it's kind of all been leading up to that Ragnarok arc with the Injustice Society, and it's just been great. And now, we did the JSA Year 1, which I also really enjoyed. I thought that was great, seeing those old classic characters again. And then now this is leading into a brand new arc, all about the Spectre. Now, if you don't know who the Spectre is, he's not like Ghost Rider, but Ghost Rider is like the spirit of vengeance, and the Spectre is very similar to that. He's God's spirit of sometimes vengeance, sometimes redemption, sometimes, things in that wheelhouse. And he is a very powerful, magic, cosmic-based character. And in this, there is a new Spectre, or at least the return of the Spectre. And usually the Spectre takes a host, which is typically character Jim Corrigan, but has also been like Crispus Allen and other characters, Hal Jordan. But here, a younger Kid Eternity, a new Kid Eternity, who is another magical-based character, is possibly going to be the brand new Spectre, which I think is really cool. But besides, all the Spectre things going on, there are a couple moments that I really enjoyed with just characters on the team who are, they're having a little bit of downtime. You have characters like Our Man and Sandy, or Sandman, who are, they're training, they're sparring, and they're just talking about their failed love lives, and it's really fun. And then Jakeem and Khaled, the new Dr. Fate, they're playing video games, and then Stargirl comes in, and they're, it's really great to have kind of like I don't want to say that this book is like serialized in a way, because in a way, like all comics aren't, because it's, it's week by week or month by month, but this feels like it could be a TV show, and you're just seeing the days of these characters' lives when they're not in battle, at least for this, until, the next arc takes over. And I'm, super excited to see these characters deal with the Spectre and everything that's, gonna, come along with all that nonsense. And then next I want to talk about X-Men by Jed MacKay and Neto Diaz. This book has been, it's been good. It's been mediocre. I'm kind of in between on it, but I keep reading it every new issue. The art's been fantastic. Neto Diaz has been great. Who else drew this book? Ryan Stegman drew this book for a while. Tony S. Daniel. Fantastic art. The story has been interesting. The X-Men are in Alaska. They have a new facility. Magneto's there. A bunch of new characters are introduced. They did a whole, what was it called? Age of Revelations, which was a huge crossover, kind of like Age of Apocalypse, big crossover epic event, and it was fine. I enjoyed it. Some things, if you haven't read that, some things carry over that you should probably read or look into. There's a new threat called 3K, which is made up of characters like Cassandra Nova and the clone of Magneto, Joseph. And then there's like this mysterious leader, and I won't say who that is if you're interested. I think it was an interesting reveal of who that is, but this issue tackles, this is part 4 of the Danger Room event, which, if you haven't been keeping up with it, it's been just a whole bunch of shit. A whole bunch of stuff has been going on. But in this issue particularly, it highlights Psylocke and Grey Crow, who was originally a character on the team, the Marauders in Mutant Massacre. He went by a much more offensive name back then, but they have a relationship here, and it's all right. It's cute, I guess. There's a couple stories going on here. You have the Psylocke and Grey Crow stuff, and then previously, Glob Herman, one of my favorite Grant Morrison new X-Men creations. He was recently almost assassinated, and Quentin Quire, who is another Grant Morrison character, was like best friends with Glob, and he goes totally off the deep end trying to find out who tried to assassinate his best friend, and I really enjoyed that. Plus there's all this stuff going on with the Beast. The Beast has been a huge character in X-Men. He has had so much going on from the age of the Krakoan, all that Krakoan stuff, what Benjamin Percy did with him, and even now, it's like Beast can't catch a break. Like, Beast has become the central character of the X-Men, and I'm kind of for it, but they've been doing some things with him, making some choices that I think are a little questionable. But I won't get too much into it. I think it was a pretty solid issue. But like I said, every time I read it, I'm like, it's good, but it's not like top tier X-Men. It's not as good as the X-Men have been in the past. But it's still very enjoyable. And as I said, the art it's just fantastic. I love it. And then finally, we have Daredevil #2 by Stephanie Phillips. If you didn't read the first issue, I highly recommend it. I thought it was great. They did a whole fun little blind bag thing, which I know, people love blind bags and blind boxes now. So it was just really smart idea to capitalize on that, especially with character who is blind. I just think it's really funny. And there were all different covers and everything. And I wish I got more than I did. I only got one, and I should have got like 12, But, for all the people who did that, they got great covers. My cover was fine. It's the Muse, Daredevil Born Again Muse TV cover. It's okay. It's not the one I wanted, but I like Muse, so I'm fine with it. But as for this issue, the thing is about Daredevil, and we're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again, the show, in a minute. Daredevil's my favorite Marvel character. I love Daredevil. I've loved Daredevil since I was little, since I saw that horrible Ben Affleck movie that I love. I love that movie because of how absurd it is. And ever since then, getting into the comics, I remember watching the old Fantastic Four cartoon, and there's an episode where Daredevil just shows up. Daredevil's just kind of the guy who just shows up and stuff sometimes. But when he's not showing up and stuff, he typically has a pretty fantastic series going on. He has been written by top-tier talent since birth, since his creation. I mean, you had Stan Lee who started it, and then heavy hitters like Frank Miller come in and totally redefine who Daredevil is, and then Ann Nocenti, who's fantastic. She has a really interesting run that dives heavily into politics, but also has Daredevil fight the devil, so it's like a weird balance. And then you have D.G. Chichester, who did a very interesting and personally not a fan favorite run. I haven't heard a lot of people say that they really love that run, but it does do some things. There's the whole Fall from Grace storyline. There's the Daredevil, the black armor that people like. I like it too. But then, you had Kevin Smith come in, and then Bendis. And then from, like, Bendis, you have just nonstop fantastic arcs, fantastic series. You have Bendis, you have Ed Brubaker, you have, and I think Andy Diggle. Andy Diggle did a little bit. He did, what was it called? He did Daredevil Reborn, I think. And I think that dovetailed into Shadowland, that I think he also wrote, but I can't quite remember if he did that or not. And then Mark Waid did 2 great runs. I like his first run better, and then Daredevil goes to the East Coast, and it's all right. It's fun. There's a lot of revelations and a lot of crazy things that happen from there. And then you have Charles Soule, who did a really interesting run that Daredevil Born Again is taking a lot of. There's a lot of stuff from the Born Again TV show that Charles Soule, kind of brought into the Daredevil mythos. And then after Charles Soule, it was Chip Zdarsky, which also the show is taking a lot of heavy stuff from. And then I think Saladin Ahmed, who I didn't really like it. I liked the beginning of it, the first couple issues. I was like, okay, this is interesting. Daredevil is a priest, and he's doing exorcisms, and then it kind of dives into a whole bunch of nonsense that I didn't really like. And now we have Stephanie Phillips, who is Daredevil. Matt Murdock is a professor at ESU, and there's a brand new villain named Omen, I believe. And he has a pretty cool design, and this whole issue is Matt he can't get Omen out of his head. And Omen says that Matt Murdock is gonna die, right? He could see the future or something like that. And at the same time, there is this kind of murder mystery going on with Detective Dominic Forte, who is a new character, and they're finding bodies all over New York that are specifically, like, mangled in a certain way. And so far it's really interesting. It's only issue 2, so I'm not gonna say it's fantastic. I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'm really enjoying it, and I think the art's great. We got to see Daredevil fight the Owl in this issue, and the Owl is always a fun character to throw in there. Yeah, I mean, it's been really fun so far, and I'm really interested to see more about Omen. There's kind of an inkling of who Omen might be in this issue, but it could be a red herring. So, yeah, I'm super excited where Daredevil is going, and I love how every writer, whenever a new writer comes in, they're always like, okay, Matt Murdock's life is always terrible. How can I make it worse, right? So what is his job going to be? He's not a lawyer anymore. Okay, he's a priest. Okay, he's a professor. Okay, he's this, okay, he's in the East Coast. Okay, he's in the West Coast. Okay, there's always great ways to shake up Daredevil's life that I think a lot of writers really have a lot of fun with, and I can tell Stephanie Phillips is also having a really good time with it. But so that is everything that I read this week. Now, as for things coming out next week, I looked on the app, the Comic Book Leagues app. I think that's what it's called. And I don't know if there's just nothing coming out next week or if something's wrong with my app, but there's only like a couple things coming out from Marvel and DC and nothing coming out from anybody else. So I don't know if that's just a problem on my end or if just genuinely nothing's coming out, but I know Absolute Batman number 20 is coming out, which everyone's loving Absolute Batman. I mean, if you're not reading Absolute Batman, what are you doing? Ratings say that you are reading Absolute Batman, so everyone and their mother is reading that book, and as they should. It's a fantastic series. I think Iron Man number 5 is coming out. This is Joshua Williamson's Iron Man. It's all right. I'm not gonna pick it up, but I read the first 2 issues. I'm just not a big Iron Man guy. I can't really get into Iron Man. The old 80s stuff, Demon in the Bottle and Armor Wars, I love it, but this, I don't know. He's just a hard character for me to really care about. Uncanny X-Men number 28 by Gail Simone is coming out. Again, I really enjoy Uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone. I read it and I'm like, that's really good, but then sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll drop it. I don't know. It holds my interest, but only momentarily, which is kind of weird to say. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I read it and I'm like, that's good, but I don't know if I'm going to keep reading it. But then I always keep reading it, and I'm never disappointed by it. It's like, it's a weird like paradox that I'm in with the X-Men books right now. But then Ultimate Endgame #4 is coming out. I'm not reading Ultimate Endgame. I read the first issue. The whole Ultimate universe, I feel like it has so much like wasted potential. You know, Ultimate Spider-Man started off fantastic, and then from there it just kind of did a whole lot of nothing for me, at least. And Ultimate Wolverine, I thought was, again, it started off great, and then they started introducing other X-Men characters, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. And then they start like killing them, and I'm like, no. And it's, again, it's just a lot of wasted potential for all of these series. Ultimates has been great. Ultimates is fantastic, though. Dennis Camp, he knows what he's doing. So I'm sure Ultimate Endgame has been fantastic for those of you that are keeping up with it. And if you are, then issue 4 comes out next week. But so that is like everything that it told me was coming out next week. So like I said, I don't know if it's just a problem on my part or if genuinely nothing's coming out. Yeah, I guess it's a good week for saving up some money because things are getting expensive out here in the wild. But yeah, so that is everything comic related that I wanted to talk about. Now, let's dive into Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has officially wrapped up. The final episode came out Tuesday. I hope you've watched it. If you haven't, I'm going to do a brief little spoiler-free review right here. I think it's a huge step up from Season 1. I know a lot of people enjoyed Season 1, but a lot of people did not. I love the original Netflix Daredevil series. It is one of my favorite series. I've seen it. I watch it at least once a year. You know, every season I watch once a year. It's fantastic. I love it. Season 2 is probably my least favorite season, as I think it is a lot of people see it as the weakest season, but there's still a lot of great things in it. I mean, it starts off fantastic with the Punisher stuff, and then it involves the Hand, and some people don't really care for the Hand. I like the Hand. I think a Daredevil story is at its best when it perfectly blends the street-level, grounded hero stuff with a little bit of supernatural stuff. And I think, well, I won't talk about Season 3 or the possibilities of what might happen in Season 3 yet. All I'm saying is I hope it gets a little supernatural. But if you didn't enjoy Season 1, this is a huge step up. I think it's way more action-packed. There's a lot better choreography, cinematography. It looks better. Daredevil is in his costume every single episode of this show, which I know Season 1 kind of felt like the Matt Murdock show, where constantly they're always like making Matt quit being Daredevil, and then he has to rise to the occasion and become Daredevil once again, which is such a tired trope, and I hate it. I hate it. But here he is Daredevil, full display in the costume, in the black costume. It looks awesome. It's the best costume. It is the best suit Charlie Cox has worn in his entire existence of being Daredevil. But he's not the only one wearing a suit, because Wilson Fisk, Vincent D'Onofrio, is dripping all over this show, dude. His suits are awesome. He's great. He's always fantastic. He is the perfect Kingpin. He is menacing, but also there is like this side of him that is so uncomfortably juvenile at points in this series, which some of them are kind of silly and weird. I guarantee you, if you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about. But there is a scene where he laughs at Karen. Karen's in like a jail cell and he laughs at her, and it's like, it's so silly, but it also is like, oh my god, he's gonna kill me, So he really balances the silly and the goofy with the just dreadful, horrifying Kingpin that we know. And there's a lot of blood, there's some violence, there's a lot of cursing. It is definitely a mature show. So, I mean, if you watch the Daredevil series and you're like, oh, they Disney-fied Daredevil, they're going to make it, for kids, it's going to be lame. It's totally not. It's totally up your alley. As for the things that happen, of course, Kingpin is mayor. He has his whole little mayoral campaign from last season, his whole administration. That's the word I'm looking for. His administration. and characters like Daniel Blake and Buck, and they're all in this season, and Vanessa, and the whole shebang. Everybody's here. Karen is here, and of course there is Bullseye, and Bullseye steals the show, dude. He has some of the most intense, crazy scenes in this entire show, and Wilson Bethel, he totally embodies Bullseye, and I cannot wait to see what's coming up for him, because I think there's definitely going to be some crazy things coming up, and I know people are already starting to speculate what those might be. Whatever they might be, I hope he gets, the Bullseye costume. I want to see the white and black, or white and dark blue. Just put the white symbol on his head. He already has a symbol. Just make it white. It would look so good. He would look so scary in that silly costume. And if you've watched any of the trailers, certain things about some characters that might appear. But if you haven't, I won't say right now. But definitely watch it, especially if you watch season 1. Don't say, season 1 kind of sucked, I'm not going to watch it. Because I think you're definitely doing yourself a disservice. I think if you weren't too hot on season 1, you'll definitely like season 2 a lot more, because it is way more of that Daredevil type show. Things like Muse and characters like Heather, who I know people hate Heather. I also do not like Heather. They're carried over from season 1. So obviously, I don't think you could just jump into season 2. I think you do need to watch season 1 just to understand what's going on. But it's definitely better. It's definitely way better. But yeah, so if you haven't watched the series, that was my spoiler review. I definitely recommend it. Now I want to talk about spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, thank you for watching, and go see it. Go watch it. All episodes are out. You can binge it. There's only 8 episodes. They're about an hour each. You can binge it in a day. I recommend it. Now, I'll give everybody a second to get out of here. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you like my videos, check out some of the other videos on this channel. We have a podcast, Off the Shelf podcast, where we talk about comics, and things get a little crazy when we talk about them. But I also have a TikTok, bean_off-the-shelf. Definitely check me out. Go give me a follow if you like to hear me talk, because all I do is yap over there. And so now let's talk about some spoilers for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I don't think I've ever had a banana milkshake in my life, but I don't think I'm going to have one, because every time I've never even seen a banana milkshake on any menu until the other day, where I don't even remember where I was. I was in the city, actually, so I think maybe it's just a city thing where they have banana milkshakes. But after watching the slaughter that Bullseye performs on this diner, if anybody orders a banana milkshake, I gotta go. I can't stay for that, because it's straight PTSD with that shit. Bullseye, I could gush over Bullseye the entire time, but he, for me, is a standout of the show. I think his performance, his one good deed, his every action scene he's in, it is just fun. It is just fun to watch this guy brutalize every character on screen, and Wilson Bethel he has so much fun with it. And him and Charlie Cox's chemistry, like, oh my god, dude, like, you want them to kiss, you do, you like, you want them to fight each other, but you also, like, this team up between them would be so bananas, no pun intended. Like, it is fantastic, them together. Charlie Cox is amazing, because he has fantastic chemistry with Wilson Bethel and with Karen and Fisk and every character he's on screen with. And there is an episode in this show, I don't remember which episode, maybe 6 or 7, but it's totally, like, it flashes back to the Netflix era of Daredevil, and they do the same color grading, the same widescreen, the same everything, and it's like, wow, like, if you can just do that, then just do it. Just do the same color grading, just do all that, make it feel like Daredevil Netflix. And for me, that's probably the biggest thing about this show. It is good. It's a good show, but it doesn't feel as great as the Netflix show. It still feels like they're pulling some punches, and I don't mean with the violence. I don't mean with, the fight scenes, the characters, but I just mean with the storytelling. It's brutal in certain points, and now we can talk about spoilers. Killing off certain characters in this show, I definitely think give it that edge that season 1 of Born Again didn't have, and that make it feel like there's real genuine stakes in these characters' lives. I mean, this whole season has been Karen and Matt are on the run because vigilantes are a big no-no in the city because of Fisk. Fisk hates vigilantes. No one is allowed to be vigilante. He's throwing people in cages. The swordsman is here. The swordsman and Daredevil break out of this containment center that Fisk and his little goons have been throwing people in, and it's a fantastic scene. It is such a great season for Daredevil inspiring other characters, right? I mean, season 1, you had the whole White Tiger incident where Hector Ayala is killed by one of Fisk's anti-vigilante squad people, and now his niece? Is it his niece? It's not his daughter. I don't remember. But she's great in this show as well. I mean, she's becoming the next White Tiger, like in the comics. And she has like a little makeshift White Tiger costume, and it's really cool. But yeah, there are characters in this that are rising to the occasion because of Daredevil, and I love that. The last episode has a bunch of New Yorkers just putting on Daredevil gear and storming the city hall. It's awesome. And for someone who loves Daredevil, I love seeing not only heroes inspire other heroes or other people to be heroes, but my favorite hero doing it, and it's awesome. And that's what this series has been this season. People rising to the occasion to be their own heroes and stopping the evil that they see all around them. And it is really great. Those are some spoilers, but now we're going to talk about some characters that died. So really, if you don't want to get any spoilers, cut out of the video right now, because we're going to talk about a couple deaths that I think one of them, I don't want to say I'm happy that it happened, but then the other one, I feel bad that it happened. So Vanessa is killed by Bullseye. I did not like what they did with Vanessa in season 1. The whole she cheats on Wilson. I don't know. I feel like her character wouldn't have done that from the Netflix series. And I feel like she was written really unlikable in season 1, and killing her in this season after they kind of, they're working things out. It is such a good moment. The way it's filmed, the way, just the whole episode, and the episode after it of that hope that Vanessa is going to live, and then she ultimately doesn't, and Fisk goes off the deep end. Like, it is perfect. It is perfect the way that it is set up, and the climax of it all. Like, it's really great. And the actress who played Vanessa, she did a great job. I loved her in the Netflix series, but she is kind of the villain. She was a villain in this show. And ultimately, not only just for character development for Wilson, but also just to kind of get her out of the show. Like, they did a good job killing her off, which again I feel like is kind of terrible to say. I don't want any characters to die, but sometimes a character's got to die for the sake of the story. And it definitely showed the real stakes of Wilson being in the biggest position of power in the city. And now, as for another character who dies, also closely, not related, but closely tethered to Wilson, is Daniel Blake, played by Michael Gandolfini. Man, he looks just like his dad. And he's great. He's great in this show. Season 1, he was kind of weird, and I didn't really like him that much in season 1, but in this season, he really proves himself as a great character. And you kind of get this feeling like he's either going to die. He is either going to die in this season, or he's going to rise and be like the next Kingpin, or in some position of power, or, be a good guy. And right as he makes that turn to, working with BB, who is Ben Urich's niece, right as he starts to make that turn, that's when they kill him. And it is a gut punch because he's a great actor in the show and he's a great character in the show. And while it hurts that he dies because you like him, I feel like there is kind of a lot of missed opportunity with that character where, because Fisk and Vanessa have been together for what, 10 or so years at this point, they don't have any kids, and they don't have any kids that are older than 10. So Daniel Blake could have been that Richard Fisk kind of character who in the comics becomes the Rose and starts his own criminal empire. Like, that would have been awesome for Daniel Blake, but they cap it off with Buck pulling a bullet in Daniel, and it hurts, but again, it works for the story, and it shows like this show has stakes. And I know a lot of people really wanted Foggy to miraculously come back to life, myself included. I love Foggy, and I think without Foggy there's a Foggy shaped hole in this show, but in that episode that brings it back to that Netflix era, like, the actor who plays Foggy, he's back and he's there for like the whole episode, and it's an episode about mercy, and it is paralleled with stuff that happened in the past before the whole Nelson and Murdoch attorneys at law even happened, when they were still at their first law firm, and then paralleled with what's going on in the present day with Daredevil actually helping Bullseye escape from the anti-vigilante squad, and then maybe working together. And it was great. It was a fantastic episode, and it hurt my feelings because I really want Foggy to come back. I really miss Foggy, and there's been things in the comics where Foggy has died, or he has faked his death, or he's gotten cancer, or things with Foggy as a character that put his life in danger. But still, in the comics, they didn't Alfred Foggy in the comics, where he's been dead for 7 years or whatever. And I hope they don't. I love Foggy. But doing it in the show, again, like, it sucks because I miss him, but it's also like, it's that element of, real stakes for these characters that a lot of the MCU doesn't really have, because characters die and then they can come back to life, So I hate it, but I love it. I gotta say, I hate it, but I love it. But I miss Foggy. I season 3, if they bring it back to life, sure, I'll take it. And then, of course, there's some new characters that are introduced. Some characters are introduced in season 1, like Cole North, who is not like this at all in the comics. And then Powell. I forget his first name, but fuck Powell. He's got to die. Oh my God, dude. He's the worst. He is the worst character in the show. Not because he's poorly portrayed, but because he is fantastically portrayed by the actor. I don't know his name. I don't care to look it up. He's pure evil in this show. And he, some of the other, Cole North actually in the finale rises to the occasion and, punches Powell in the face, and it's awesome. It was worth it. It was worth watching the entire show just for that one moment. And the whole anti-vigilante force is a really interesting concept that is from the I can't even remember. I know Fisk doesn't Kingpin use the Thunderbolts in Devil's Reign? I'm pretty sure it's the Thunderbolts, or it's, group of actual costumed villains. But I'm sure he has a task force in the comics. It's been a while since I've read Zdarsky's run, but this show has done a pretty good job of using things by Charles Soule and Chip Zdarsky. We're not going to get that whole Devil's Reign aspect of everything. I doubt we're going to get. Well, actually, we might get another person rocking the Daredevil costume, which I'll talk about in a minute. But things like Daredevil in the black suit, which, some people say it's the Shadowland suit. It's the Shadowland suit, but it's also the Charles Soule back in black suit minus the red gloves and boots. A lot of great. Oh, and plus, like, Muse, who was a Charles Soule invented character, is big in season 1, and then he's killed. And then you have Heather, who is the worst, and she has like PTSD from Muse and is most likely going to become Lady Muse because there's been set pictures of a female Muse for the upcoming season 3 of this show. So it's 100% going to be her. If it's not her, I'm going to be surprised because she puts the costume on at the end of this show, or she puts the mask on at the end of the finale. The finale was crazy to this, because you don't get a Daredevil versus Kingpin fight. They don't punch each other. It is all the Daredevils, all the people of New York wearing the costumes, storming the Capitol, or the City Hall, the Capitol, storming City Hall, and Fisk slaughters a lot of them. He's killing them. And Daredevil and Jessica Jones is another character who shows up in the later half of the show, and she has a kid with Luke, and it's awesome. And then there's little mentions of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character, I forget her name, Valentina Allegra DeFont. She has a long ass name, but they mention her, and Matthew Lillard's character, who I didn't mention. He plays Mr. Charles, who's a very you don't know a lot about him, but he is somehow connected to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and they mentioned that Luke Cage might have been doing some work for him, which I think is kind of an interesting thing to do for Luke. But he does show up and have a little cameo at the end of this, which is great. I can't wait to see more of him in season 3 because, Mike Coulter spoiled everything. Right, everybody saw what he posted of Charlie Cox in a prison outfit, because at the end of this show, Daredevil does get arrested. He reveals to the world that he is Daredevil, which I think is crazy. I mean, Matt Murdock publicly has had his identity outed numerous times, multiple times, but I don't remember if any of them were from him. There's never been a moment like this in the MCU since Iron Man, of a character just flat out saying, I am Daredevil, I am Iron Man. Like characters like Spider-Man, they had their identity revealed, or Captain America, everybody knows that he's Steve Rogers, but it's a huge moment for Daredevil. And, doing in Zdarsky's run, I mean, he did go to prison, but nobody knew he was Daredevil. He had the Daredevil mask on in prison, which I think is kind of silly. But that wasn't the first time Daredevil went to jail. I mean, Ed Brubaker's run, the Devil in Cell Block D, I believe it was called, is fantastic. Matt Murdock in prison. And I think they're going to do more along the lines of that storyline because, in that, I believe Fisk and Bullseye and other characters are all, I think maybe Punisher also is in jail. And while Fisk goes off on, he gets a deal from the governor to leave New York. At the end of this season, he doesn't go to jail, but characters like Powell and I think Cole North do go to jail. So that's definitely going to be a little bit of conflict, at least for the first couple episodes of season 3. But yeah, I think it's a crazy ending. And things like Lady Muse, and I know I'm hearing there's going to be a lot of new Daredevil villains that show up in season 3, which I'm super excited for. Set pictures of Fisk with a big bushy beard have been going around, but I don't think he's going to be the villain again. I don't think they should make Kingpin the villain again, because he's been the villain for 4 seasons. Season 1, he was in season 2, but he was in prison. And then season 3, and then season 1 of Born Again, and season 2 of Born Again. I think it's time to give Kingpin a break. I think a great villain. Okay, I think what they should do, and I don't think they should fully do it, but I think it would be really interesting and a real shakeup to what they've done with this show. I think they should do Shadowland, or attempt to do a similar story arc. I think they should bring the Hand back and, bring Elektra back maybe. And you could still have Bullseye, and you can have all the Defenders, all the street level characters get involved as well, and Daredevil himself being the antagonist of the season. I think that would be such a shakeup and such a fantastic idea that they should do, or at least, use some of the ideas from it. Daredevil being the leader of the Hand is such a crazy idea that I think would, people would go nuts over it, and see like Iron Fist and Jessica fighting Daredevil, their ally, and him being possessed by a demon, and things get really supernatural and crazy. So I don't know how much they would, dive into the supernatural side, but like I said, I think the best Daredevil stories are when there's a little bit of supernatural, a little bit of that, mystical, magical side, and then of course, like, with Spider-Man Brand New Day and the trailer that they showed with the hand in a prison, people are like, oh, Daredevil is going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Spider-Man's going to break him out of that prison, and, there's going to be a team up. They're going to fight the hand, and maybe Daredevil gets possessed and becomes the leader of the hand, and that's the after credits scene for Spider-Man Brand New Day. I don't know, but if the hand is back on the table and Daredevil, is in jail and has, like, Ed Brubaker's run when he's in jail, it's all before Shadowland. All that stuff kind of leads into Shadowland, and even Kingpin getting involved with the hand. And I just think Shadowland is not my favorite Daredevil story. I actually don't really like it. I think it is full of great concepts, but it is sorely lacking in just a substance. I think it is a fantastic idea that wasn't written to its full potential, and I think if they use it but change things up, I think it'll be a fantastic season. And then that's pretty much everything I say. Everything I have to say about Daredevil Born Again. I really enjoyed this season. I thought it was a huge step up from season 1. Bullseye at the very end, Mr. Charles and Bullseye are on a plane together, so maybe they're going to do a little Dark Avengers. Maybe we'll see a Bullseye Hawkeye, because, I doubt he's going to show up in Avengers Doomsday and be part of the new Avengers. I doubt it, but an evil Avengers, now I can see Bullseye doing that. But yeah, so, let me know what you guys thought about this season. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't cover every single minute little detail that happened in this season, but I want you guys to go see it. Go enjoy some Daredevil. Daredevil is a fantastic character, and I am just so amazed that we have gotten 6 seasons of a Daredevil show, or 5 seasons of a Daredevil show, with another one coming. So yeah, it has never been a better time to be a Daredevil fan. So Go buy yourself a humongous oversized shirt from Hot Topic. The shirt's like 3XL. I didn't mean to buy it that big. But I love this shirt, and I love Daredevil. Go read some Daredevil comics. Go watch the show. And that's pretty much it. I'm super excited to start doing this podcast again. Not really a podcast, because it's not live, and there's definitely going to be cuts and stuff. But I'm just super excited to get back into the groove of everything. And next week, maybe we'll talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day, because I don't really have a lot of things coming out in the way of comics. So, yeah. So if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and go to my TikTok. Go follow me on TikTok. I talk about a lot of fun things over there as well. And so thank you for watching. Keep reading, and let me know what you thought about Daredevil Born Again.